Once, while in the Middle East, I purchased a veil. On my return, I pulled it from its packaging and tried it on in all the ways I had seen women wear veils in my travels. I fell asleep with the veil wrapped around my shoulders, and I began to dream a most memorable dream. I dreamt that the veil I wore was worn by another, and the veil itself began to speak to me. What follows is the story of a woman named Tahirih, as told by the veil she wore. In a small town in Iran, in the early part of the 19th century, a young girl grew up, secluded from the world by a veil and the beliefs of the land. Her father was a renowned scholar of his day. He believed his daughter was worthy of an education, so he became her teacher, showing her how to read and write and express herself with eloquence and conviction. Her heart began to whisper of new understandings about herself, others, and the world. She listened. Her mother taught her the ways of women, of grace and intuition, of mental alertness and compassion, and most of all, love and all of its expressions. Her heart sang to her, gently guiding her to more understandings about herself, others, and the world. She listened, observed the world around her, and began to accept what her heart was telling her. She grew into a young woman, and like others around her, was married off to her cousin. She gave birth to 2 children whom she dearly treasured. She was their first teacher, and she reveled in their very existence. With each embrace, with each word, with every movement, she gave her children life and guided them in the ways of love and all of its expressions. Her heart gave more guidance with rising volume and clarity. She listened closely and began to express what she heard with eloquence and conviction. Her husband would not listen to the expressions of her heart. He told her to make a choice between her beloved children or what she knew and believed in her heart. The veil grew quiet at this point in the story, unable to speak. It recalled the agony, the despair, the bending, the will, and the final decision of a mother whose love was too immense and unrestrained to be bound in the minds of men. She knew, in the way that only one who believes and trusts her heart knows, that somehow her sacrifice was necessary for herself, for her children, and for the world. Overcome with the tears that poured from her heart and eyes, she blindly bade farewell to the precious treasures for whom she made this sacrifice. She stumbled, but did not fall. Her feet kept moving in the direction her heart pointed, the veil embracing the shaking shoulders and protecting her from probing eyes. Her eloquence and conviction continued to flow, now with renewed focus. Her love for her children strengthened her expression and intensified her vision. The words she expressed moved through ears to the limitless chambers of hearts. Her convictions renewed beliefs, transformed minds, and reached every corner of the land in which she lived. Her heart spoke freely, released from the chains of doubt forever. She was fierce in her love, you see. Her words reached the court of the Shah of the land. The Shah loved her poetry and heard whispers of her beauty. He wanted to capture her for his own. And why not? What woman would not want to be part of his household, he thought. His treasures were delightful to the eyes, sparkling, bejeweled, and amassed in every corner. but she refused with eloquence and grace. The Shah offered her a new proposition with growing demand. He told her to choose between joining his household or death. Again she refused with eloquence and grace. Her heart spoke, for they were now one and the same. I am Tahirih. I am a woman. I am all woman. We are compassion. We are intuition. We are mental alertness and moral intelligence, and we are love in all of its expressions. You know us well. We are your mothers, your grandmothers, your sisters, your daughters, your wives, and your aunts. We are the peace and well-being of the world of man. You will take my life, but not our life force. It flows freely through minds and hearts, laws and beliefs, languages and cultures. It is ongoing and ever-flowing. One day you will realize the truth of our purpose. And with that, she removed the veil she had worn all of her life, which reminded her of her womanly existence, which witnessed and carried within its flowing embrace the story of all women. She kissed our friend the veil and gently put it into the hands, which would then tie it into a noose for her own death. The veil became quiet then, overcome with grief at the final task it was forced to perform. When I awoke from my dream, the veil was still wrapped around my shoulders. It felt different. It was no longer just a veil, but a reminder of who I was and who I could be if I chose. I was no longer alone, but surrounded on all sides by courageous, beating hearts that longed for more, that longed for me to stand and work with them for something that was deeply important to us all. I was alone, but I suddenly felt surrounded by many. The words of Tahirih still rang in my heart. I am a woman. I am all woman. We are love and all of its expressions. We are love and all of its expressions.